Let me ask you something. How bad do you want it? Because if you want it bad enough, you'll do whatever it takes, even when every part of your body and mind is telling you to stop. You think it's about big moments, don't you? That one big breakthrough, you're wrong. Success isn't built in those big moments. It's built in the moments when nobody's watching, when no one's clapping, when it's just you grinding away. That's where the magic happens. And that magic is called consistency. When the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and the bed feels so damn comfortable, that's the moment that counts. You don't have to feel like getting up. You just have to do it. Because here's the thing, consistency isn't about feeling good. It's about doing what you said you were going to do, no matter how hard it is. You see, it's easy to get fired up on day one. New goals, new year, new me, right? But then what happens? Day 2 hits and you're tired. You're sore. The excuses start creeping in. I'll get to it tomorrow. That's where most people quit. They want quick results. They want to feel good right now. But I'm here to tell you, consistency doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about the obstacles or how tired you are. It just cares about you showing up. Consistency isn't about motivation. It's about discipline. People think they can just wait for that spark of motivation to get started, that moment where they feel ready, where they feel like they're on top of the world. But motivation isn't a constant, it comes and goes. It's like the weather, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. So if you're waiting for motivation to kick in, you're going to be waiting forever. Motivation won't show up when you need it the most. It won't be there when you're feeling tired, when you're in pain, when the world is trying to knock you down. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is something that stays with you, even when motivation runs dry. You don't need to feel good to be consistent. You don't need to feel excited or inspired or ready. You just need to do the work every single day. When you get up in the morning, it doesn't matter if you're sore from yesterday's workout or if you stayed up too late or if it's raining or if you're just not feeling it. Discipline says get up and get to work. It's about being there every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about showing up no matter how much your body and mind try to convince you to do otherwise. It's easy to tell yourself you'll work out when the weather's perfect, when you feel fresh, when everything aligns. But guess what? That's not real life. Life is messy. Life is tough. And if you only show up when things are easy, when you're feeling your best, you'll never get where you want to be. You'll never push yourself beyond your limits. You'll never tap into your true potential. You have to show up when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable. That's when the real growth happens. That's where discipline separates the winners from the quitters. And here's the kicker, nobody's going to do it for you. No one is going to wake you up and force you to do the work. No one's going to hold your hand and tell you to keep pushing when you want to quit. That responsibility, it's on you. It's always been on you. You're the one who has to make the choice to be disciplined. You're the one who has to commit to the grind, even when it feels like you're not making progress. That's the thing about discipline. It doesn't require anyone else's approval. It doesn't need a cheering crowd. It's just you, your goals, and the work in front of you. When you're disciplined, you're doing the work. Even when nobody's watching, you're putting in the hours when the world is asleep. You're getting up early, staying late, pushing through the pain, and never backing down. Because you understand that greatness isn't born from convenience. It's forged in the fire of discomfort. It's built on the foundation of countless days when you chose to show up, when you chose to push through, even when you didn't want to. And that's where the transformation happens. Here's the thing, that most people don't get. Consistency doesn't just build results, it builds character. Every time you push yourself past what you thought were your limits, you're proving to yourself that you can handle more. Every time you get up early and put in the work, you're teaching yourself how strong you really are. You're building the belief that you can do anything as long as you show up and stay disciplined. You want to get stronger? You want to get better? You want to achieve your goals? Then stop waiting for motivation to show up and just do the work. Consistency isn't about waiting for the perfect moment, for the stars to align. It's about doing the work every day, Even when you're tired, even when you're frustrated, even when you don't see immediate results, it's about the process. And the process doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about how you feel. The process just wants you to show up. The first time you decide to push through when you don't feel like it, you're building that muscle. The first time you refuse to quit, you're strengthening your resolve. And the more you practice that discipline, the stronger it gets. It becomes second nature. You stop needing motivation because you've built a habit of doing the work no matter what. You become someone who doesn't quit, someone who shows up day after day, no matter how hard it gets. And that's when the real results start to show. Discipline isn't about doing what's easy. It's about doing what's necessary, even when it's hard, even when it feels impossible. You're not looking for shortcuts. You're not looking for the quick way out. You're looking for the long game. You're looking for that day in, day out grind that makes you better, stronger, faster, tougher. And if you stick with it, if you keep showing up when it's hard, if you refuse to let anything stop you, then you will be unstoppable. But don't fool yourself. This isn't about one big push. It's not about a burst of energy, a few good days, and then you're done. It's about every day. It's about the grind that doesn't end. It's about understanding that every single day is an opportunity to get better. And if you take that opportunity, if you show up, even when it sucks, then you will be amazed at what you can achieve. Because discipline doesn't care about how you feel. It just cares about you doing the work. And if you do that day after day, you'll have the strength to conquer anything that comes your way. The mind will try to stop you. It will tell you you're too tired, too weak, that you've had enough, that you're not capable. It will give you every excuse in the book to make you quit. It will whisper in your ear, trying to convince you to take the easy route, to stay comfortable, to avoid the pain. But you have to understand something that's not your mind talking. That's your fear, your self-doubt, your weakness, trying to take control. And you can't let that happen. The true battle, the one that really matters, is not out there in the world. It's fought right between your ears. It's fought in your mind. And it's won in the moments when you decide to ignore the voice that tells you to quit. When you face that voice, when you feel that resistance pushing you back, that's when you know you're on the right path. The mind is designed to protect you from pain, to protect you from discomfort. It doesn't want you to suffer, to push past your limits, because it's afraid of what will happen if you do. But here's the truth: nothing grows in comfort. Nothing changes in the safety of your own head. If you want to become something greater, if you want to evolve into a version of yourself that's tougher, stronger, and more resilient than you ever thought possible, then you've got to face that voice head on and push through it. The first thing you need to realize is that that voice isn't real. It's just a product of your mind's natural instinct to keep you comfortable. It doesn't care about your goals. It doesn't care about your dreams. It's only concerned with keeping you safe, keeping you from experiencing discomfort. But you're not here to be comfortable. You're not here to stay stuck in the same place, to never evolve. You're here to push beyond those boundaries, to shatter the limits that have been placed on you. And that voice is just a barrier between you and everything you could be. What you've got to do is fight that voice every single time it shows up. You have to learn to recognize when your mind is trying to sabotage you. It's going to tell you that you've gone far enough, that you've worked hard enough, that you've done your part, and you deserve to rest. But let me tell you something: the real rest comes after you've pushed yourself beyond what you thought you could handle. You don't get the reward until you've earned it. And you earn it by overcoming the voice in your head, the resistance that tells you to stop. Every time that voice comes up, you've got to turn it into fuel. You've got to use it to drive you, not stop you. You've got to use that resistance as a sign that you're getting closer to your goal, closer to becoming the person you want to be. You see, most people stop when they hit resistance. They think it's a sign that they're not meant to go any further, that it's too hard, that they're not good enough. But that's the moment you've got to push harder. That's the moment you've got to dig deeper. The mind will always find a reason to stop, to quit, to take the easy route. But it's in those moments, in the moments of resistance, that you prove to yourself what you're truly made of. The mind is a powerful thing, but it's not invincible. It can be trained, just like your body. The more you face that resistance, the more you push through those moments when your mind is screaming for you to stop, the stronger your mind becomes. You start to realize that the voice isn't telling the truth. It's not a reflection of your capabilities. It's just a limit trying to keep you where you are. And when you realize that, you can break through it. Every time you choose to move forward, despite the resistance, you're reinforcing the belief that you're in control. You're not a slave to your thoughts, to your feelings. You're the one who makes the decisions. Your mind will always be the greatest obstacle you face, but it will also be your greatest tool if you can learn to control it. The way you control your mind is through repetition and consistency. You have to show up every day. Even when the mind tries to tell you to take a break, you have to push through that resistance until it becomes second nature, until you're no longer afraid of the discomfort. That's how you develop mental toughness. It's not about just getting through the hard times. It's about building a mind that thrives in the hard times. And here's the truth about the mind. It will lie to you. It will tell you that you're too tired, that you can't keep going, that you've done enough. But if you listen to that voice, if you let it dictate your actions, then you're never going to grow. You're never going to reach your true potential. The mind is weak. It's only capable of pulling you down to the lowest level it can find. But you're capable of so much more. And when you learn to see through the lies, when you refuse to let your mind dictate what's possible, you will break through every limit that's ever been placed on you. The mind isn't in control unless you let it be. You are the one who gets to decide whether you keep going or give up. You are the one who gets to decide how strong you are. So the next time your mind tries to tell you that you can't, that is too hard, that you've had enough, remember this. Those thoughts are not you. They're just noise. You are stronger than your mind, and you have the power to push past whatever it throws your way. It's not about taking huge leaps. It's not about waiting for some big moment of inspiration to push you forward. The truth is, you're not going to see instant results. And if you're looking for overnight success, you're going to be sorely disappointed. The key to progress lies in the small, seemingly insignificant steps you take each day. It's the consistency of showing up time and time again. That leads to the results you're after. You got to commit to the grind, even when you can't see the progress, even when it feels like nothing is changing. It's those small steps repeated every day that will eventually take you to places you've never imagined. You don't have to change the world in one day. You don't have to do it all at once. You just have to do something every single day. Most people get caught up in the idea that they need to make drastic changes, to go all in, to overcommit themselves and burn out. They think it's about making a big move. And when that move doesn't bring instant results, they give up. But that's not how it works. It's the compounding effect of small, consistent actions that create big, lasting changes. Every rep, every step, every minute you spend pushing yourself is building something in you that can't be taken away. The key to success is, taking one step and then another and then another. It's not about pushing yourself to the absolute max in one workout or one project, thinking that that will be the breakthrough. It's about making that step your foundation. Each day you show up, you add a brick to the wall you're building. And over time, that wall grows higher and stronger than anything you could have imagined. People will look at you and wonder how you got so far, how you became so strong, so capable, but they won't realize that it wasn't some moment of genius. It wasn't about having some magical burst of energy or inspiration. It was about showing up every day when nobody was watching, when there were no celebrations, no applause. Just the daily grind, the quiet work, the small steps that you took day in and day out. Don't get distracted by the big picture. It's easy to look at the end result and feel overwhelmed, to think you need to do everything all at once. But all you need to do is focus on today. Focus on what's in front of you right now. If you focus on getting just 1% better every day, you look back in a year, in 5 years, and realize how far you've come. It's the daily habit of improvement, of pushing through those moments when it feels like you're not making any progress, that builds you into the person who's capable of achieving big things. Every small effort you make is a victory. Every time you decide to take action, no matter how small, you're moving forward. And that's the real secret to success. The consistency to keep going, even when the finish line seems far away, when you're not seeing immediate results, when you're pushing and still feel stuck. That's when the real work is happening. That's when you're building the mental strength to keep going. If you let those moments defeat you, if you allow yourself to quit when it feels like nothing is happening, then you'll never get the reward. You'll never reach the point where the small efforts you've put in start to add up. And trust me, they will add up. But only if you keep going day after day, no matter how small the steps seem. This is the grind. This is the process. It's not glamorous and it's not exciting. It's just showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's hard, even when you're exhausted. Because in those moments, you're building resilience. You're building the strength to push through the discomfort and keep moving forward. And over time, those small steps will create something massive. That's where the true power lies. The progress is happening, but you have to trust the process. You have to trust that showing up today, even when you feel like you're not getting anywhere, is worth it. You have to trust that the small steps are what make the big difference. The results don't come immediately. You won't see them right away. But they're happening slowly, steadily, one step at a time. And the more consistent you are, the more those small actions will start to build momentum. You'll get stronger, you'll get better. And eventually, all of those small steps will come together to form something great. There's no secret to success. It's not about some big breakthrough or, some huge transformation. It's about doing the work every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Because in those moments, you're doing the most important work of all. You're laying the foundation for something that will eventually change your life. And the power of that, the power of those small, consistent actions is what will get you to your goal one step at a time. You think you're tired, you think you're at your breaking point. Let me tell you something. Your body will lie to you. It will tell you that you're done, that you can't take anymore, that the pain is too much. It will scream at you to stop, to give up, to rest. But that's the trick. That's where most people fail. They listen to the body when it's weak, when it's tired, when it's begging them to quit. The truth is, you're stronger than you think. Your body is capable of far more than you can imagine, and you've only just scratched the surface of what you can push through. When your body is telling you it's done. That's when the real work begins. The pain, the exhaustion, that's the point where your body is trying to protect you. It's trying to stop you from going any further. But what it doesn't realize is that it's only when you push past that point, when you keep going despite the signals your body is sending, that you'll find out what you're really made of. The human body has a threshold, but you can push that threshold. You can expand your limits, but only if you're willing to suffer. If you're not willing to go to that dark place where everything in you is screaming to stop, then you'll never tap into the strength that lies beneath the surface. The key is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Most people run from discomfort. They avoid it at all costs, thinking that the minute they feel it, they've reached their limit. But discomfort isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace. It's a sign that you're growing, that you're challenging yourself, that you're doing something that most people would shy away from. It's in the pain that your character is forged, in the suffering that you build mental toughness. If you don't learn to deal with discomfort, if you don't learn to push through it, you'll always be limited by it. You'll always be a slave to the idea that you can't handle the discomfort, when the truth is you can handle a lot more than you think. Think about it. Every time you push, through that discomfort, every time you force yourself to keep going when your body is screaming for you to quit, you're teaching yourself a lesson in resilience. You're showing yourself that you can endure, that you can handle more than you ever believed possible. The pain becomes a teacher. It becomes a tool for growth. And with each battle you win, with each time you refuse to stop and your body tells you it's had enough, you're building strength, not just physical strength, but mental strength. You're developing the ability to control your mind, to tell yourself, no, I am not stopping. Not today. Not ever. Your body is constantly sending signals. Rest, take a break. You've done enough. But that's where you have to outsmart it. That's where you have to be tougher than your body, stronger than your instincts. You've got to take control, and you've got to push past the comfort zone. Your body will always try to keep you in that zone of safety, the zone where it doesn't have to work too hard, where it can avoid pain and struggle. But you're not here to stay in the safe zone. You're here to break through it. You're here to reach the next level, and that requires pushing beyond what's comfortable. That's the moment when your growth happens. When you go beyond what your body is telling you it can handle. When you push through the pain, the discomfort, the doubt, you unlock something in yourself that wasn't there before. You start to realize that you're not just surviving the pain, you're thriving in it. The discomfort becomes the fuel, the very thing that powers you forward. And once you realize that, once you understand that you can handle the discomfort, you'll never look at pain the same way again. The reality is, your body is stronger than you give it credit for. Your muscles, your bones, your cardiovascular system, they're capable of enduring far more than you can imagine. But if you're always listening to the voice that says, stop, rest, take it easy, you'll never find out just how far you can go. You'll never see the true extent of your strength, the depth of your endurance. But if you start to embrace the discomfort, if you push through that pain barrier, you will discover what lies beyond it. And what lies beyond it is a version of yourself that is capable of far more than you ever thought possible. It's easy to stop when things get hard. It's easy to let your body dictate when you've had enough. But the real power comes when you refuse to listen to that voice, when you tell yourself, I can take more. It's just, I can keep going. That's when you break through the wall. That's when you build the kind of strength that can handle anything life throws your way. Because here's the truth. Pain doesn't last forever. It's temporary. But the strength, the resilience, the mental toughness you build from pushing through it, that stays with you. That's what carries you long after the pain has faded. So the next time your body tells you it's enough, when the pain starts to build up, and you feel like quitting. Remember this, the pain is temporary, but your strength is permanent. Keep pushing, keep going, break through. And when you do, you'll realize just how much more you're capable of than you ever thought possible. When you set out to do something, the hardest part isn't the physical effort. It's the mental effort. The body will follow if the mind is strong enough. But most people never develop the mental toughness to keep going. When things get tough, they give up before they reach their true potential. They stop at the first sign of discomfort, of challenge, because their mind isn't trained to keep pushing. What you've got to understand is that the real battle is fought inside your head. It's the moment you're alone, when no one's watching, when the pain and the doubt creep in. That's when you see who you truly are. Most people don't realize this, but your mind is constantly telling you lies. It's telling you that you're not good enough, that you can't do it, that it's too hard. And the worst part, it's usually the first voice you listen to. You let it control your actions. You let it stop you before you even start. But what if stop listening? What if instead of accepting those lies, you decided to tell your mind who's in charge. The truth is you're capable of more than you think. You just need to be willing to fight through the mental barriers, the doubts, the lies. That's where true growth happens. The mind will always look for an excuse to quit. It will tell you that you're too tired, too busy, that there's no point, that you're not good enough, that you can't make it. But you have to understand that those are just excuses. The truth is you're capable of far more than you think, but your mind is trying to hold you back. It wants you to stay comfortable, to stay in the same place, to avoid the pain. But pain is where growth happens. Comfort doesn't lead to strength. Comfort doesn't lead to greatness. Pain does. So you have to learn to deal with the mental struggle. The mental battle is just as real as the physical one. When you face those moments of doubt, when your mind starts to tell you to quit, that's when you need to push the hardest. That's when you need to dig deeper, when you need to remind yourself that your mind is lying to you. That's when you need to tap into something deeper inside of you. You have to override the mental shutdown. You have to be strong enough to keep going when everything inside of you is telling you to stop. Think about it every time you overcome the mental barriers, every time you push through the doubt, you're building mental toughness. You're showing yourself that you can keep going, even when your mind tells you otherwise. And the more you do it, the stronger you become. It's not about going hard every once in a while. It's about consistency. It's about doing it every day, even when you don't feel like it, even when your mind is screaming at you to quit. That's how you get stronger mentally. That's how you build resilience. You have to learn to control your thoughts, to recognize when they're trying to hold you back, and to push through anyway. If you let your mind take control, if you let it dictate your actions, you'll never achieve what you're capable of. You'll always be limited by your own fears and doubts. You have to break free from that. You have to train yourself to push through when it's hard, when it feels impossible, when everything in your body and mind is telling you to give up. Because once you do that, once you push through that resistance, you realize that it wasn't as hard as your mind made it out to be. You realize that you are capable of more than you ever gave yourself credit for. This is where mental toughness is built through repetition, through consistency, through doing it when it's hard. It's easy to show up when you're feeling strong, when everything is going your way. But the true test is when things get tough. When the obstacles show up, when the challenges come at you from all sides, that's when your mind will try to stop you. But if you can keep going in those moments, you'll grow in ways you never thought possible. You'll break through those mental barriers, and you'll be stronger because of it. You have to learn to separate the mental struggle from the physical struggle. When your mind says you can't do this, your body can still keep going. Your mind doesn't control your physical abilities. It can only hold you back if you let it. When you push past the doubts, when you refuse to listen to the mental voice telling you to quit, you find that your body can do far more than you ever imagined. Your muscles will burn, your energy will deplete, but you can keep going if your mind doesn't give up. And this doesn't just apply to physical challenges, it applies to everything in life. Whether it's building your career, developing your skills, overcoming personal struggles, it's all about the mental game. It's about being able to push through when things get tough, when you feel like you're not making any progress, when everything inside of you is telling you to quit. You have to silence those voices, tell yourself that you're not done yet, and keep moving forward. The mental battle is the hardest part of any challenge, but it's the most important one. Your body will always try to stop you, but your mind has the power to overcome anything. It's all about your willingness to fight through the mental resistance. When you get that, when you understand that you are not your thoughts, that you can control your mind, that's when you unlock your true potential. That's when you realize that you can go farther than you ever thought possible. The journey to greatness isn't glamorous. It's not about some big, heroic moment where everything falls into place. It's not about waking up one day and deciding to be great. It's about the grind, the day in, day out work that most people don't want to do. That's the difference between those who make it and those who don't. The ones who make it aren't waiting for motivation to strike. They don't sit around hoping for the right moment to do the work. They get up and get it done because they know that success isn't handed to you. It's earned through consistency and persistence. You can't rely on motivation to carry you through because motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes just like feelings. The real power comes from discipline to show up, to put in the work no matter what. People think that motivation is the secret, that if they just find the right source of inspiration, the right YouTube video or the right pep talk, they'll be able to push through anything. But the truth is, motivation is like a wave. It comes, crashes, and then it's gone. You can't live off the highs of motivation because eventually that wave will recede. What happens when it does? What happens when you wake up tired, when you're exhausted, when everything inside of you is telling you to take a day off? That's when discipline comes into play. That's when you decide to show up regardless of how you feel. It's the discipline to keep pushing when no one is watching.